Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we are going to be showing you
a quick, easy dry brush technique for the Crimson Croc to get us up and running in our Kingdom Death campaign.
We are about to start playing a full gameplay campaign here on the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you want to stay tuned for more Kingdom Death content. But in order to begin painting, we had to build the model.
Yep.
And we have to start painting the model in order to begin playing.
Yeah.
We had to build the model and we need to paint the model because it's not a finished game or video without aesthetically painted models. Now, I am not a skilled painter, and I will try sometime down the line to bring you a beautiful rendition of some of these Kingdom Death models. I want to try to do the comic book look where you have dark outlines and hard soft colors and do full thematic coloring. That's not what we're doing. We're here for those of you that have never built before, have never painted before, and just kind of want it to look good enough to get up and going. We're going to be doing what's called a dry brush technique. A dry brush technique is a very simple thing. In fact, we have like the worst paintbrushes money can buy with us. This paintbrush literally has glue that was stuck through it. Like, just gross. These are cheap $2 paintbrushes. There's dust flying off of that one as you fling it. Why do we need these brushes? Well, because it just doesn't matter. We're going to be completely ruining the front of them, dipping them in paint.
Wow, so much hair just off.
I know. We're going to be completely ruining these brushes, dipping them in paint, and then kind of doing this over top of it to create just the shadow and outline. Now, Shira might do some other colors, and each of us are going to customize our own little starting survivors that I painted way back in the day with a airbrush, and they could use a little bit more love and attention.
Let's do black first on
the first process is to go ahead and add a layer of primer. Now, not just black paint. Primer specifically has some qualities that are important.
Does it matter what brush you do?
So for this one, don't use either of those. Don't use this brush. This will be our dry brush, so you can use that one.
This one?
Yep. Now,
I just need something big.
Yeah. Now, primer has a few specific qualities, and yeah, I'm just using it in a tray like this because I don't have paint pads. It's been a while since we've painted. Primer has a... Yeah, you can. Primer has a few important qualities that you should pay attention to. First off, primer is going to be sealing and creating an undercoat, just a base coat. You have white primer, gray primer, black primer is a common one in Kingdom Death because you just kind of want everything to look neutral. Now, because we're going to be dry brushing, this black will become a shadow underneath of everything that we're making. If you did white, for instance, even the base, yeah, the whole thing. If you did white, for instance, that white would be highlights, or would be, you could do some oil washing and have it sink into the crevices to make more of a darker exterior. This is what I find to be the easiest way to make Kingdom Death look okay on your table, because the difference between a painted and unpainted miniature is giant. The other cool thing about primer is that you can put it down kind of thick, and when it paints, primer naturally clings and naturally shrinks. And so it's going to be tightening itself up against the model really, really well. It's going to be leveling itself out, and it's going to try to make that entire model look like one completed piece instead of a bunch of jagged edges and pieces that you just glued together and stuck all together. It dries fairly quickly, so maybe about an hour or two after we do this part of it, we'll go film some other videos, and then we'll be back and we'll do the full dry brushing. You won't see any change. But that's the core idea, that's the core concept. So while you get started painting this, and you can make comments and tell the camera your thoughts, I'm going to go ahead and film some B-roll so that, like always, we can have nice footage for you all to watch.
It's so cool. And it's so hard to get in all of his little nooks and crannies. Like, it might have been easier to do him without being attached to his base. It's also really bad paint brushings.
Yeah, you're using the worst brush possible to just put down a aggressive layer of paint. Now, we did put down a little bit of green stuff on the model to seal in some of the gaps. I didn't actually have much green stuff with us, so we'll do a video on that at a later time, talking about the different options you have. And we've had some comments saying that we should melt plastic in plastic cement to actually get a better fit. That's something we'll try out. I've never done it before. Your hands are going to be covered.
Excuse you.
How does this feel as an extremely detail-oriented person?
So hard. It looks a lot better than when it was gray with green goop on it. I do have to say that. I don't like the gray and green goop look. This was the piece we talked about. You should paint before gluing in. Because as what I'm having to do, smush my brush in, try and get all of those crevices. Don't use your good quality brushes for this, folks.
Looks like he's covered in tar.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of cool 3D renders of how people want to paint theirs, using like red themes and green themes for him. He's called the Crimson Croc for a reason. And I think people are going to lean into that.
I mean, one of the coolest things about this system is that it really doesn't take a lot of paint, a lot of expensive gear, or a lot of time to build paint and have ready to play pieces. It's one of those things that for any board game is really a worthwhile upgrade to do or skill set to have. But Kingdom Death especially, where the aesthetic and the story is so impacted by the visuals that you have on the table.
Because you always will have to add green putty. I think even just painting one neutral color makes it look better.
Yeah, but one neutral color plus a dusting changes the game.
Well, then now we start doing fingers. But my fingers, not his fingers. After we dry brush him, I might paint his eyes a vivid red. Just the eyes.
Okay, so we finished priming him for the most part. There might be some little areas to do touch-up work with, but we're going to let him sit and dry. You can already see where that paint is squeezing down onto the model.
Yeah.
So we're going to let him sit and dry. That paint will condense, and we'll be back literally for you in no time to go ahead and show you how to dry brush him. We are back with a glorious black
Crimson Croc.
You were commenting on how you were impressed that the paint actually does.
It does tighten up. Like, it tightens up to the point that if you're not careful, you will have like little spots that you miss that you'll have to go over again.
Yeah.
We touched it up a couple times off camera, and now we're ready to dry brush him. But first, I'm going to practice dry brushing my survivors.
Doesn't he look so good though, just painted like pitch black? Okay, so I'm going to do this dry brushing technique with you.
Yeah.
I usually mess it up a little bit when I do it, so we'll see. If
I've done it
do
before.
You've done it before,
Yes.
So you have the idea. So the core concept of dry brushing is you want to take and you want to kind of break your brush a little bit. You do that because you want to be able to get just a little bit. You don't want a lot of paint to gunk up in your brush, and you want to be able to get just a little bit of paint on it. Then the goal is to get as much paint out of your brush as possible. Yeah. So that you actually leave a very light dusting on your model. The riskiest thing you can do is not take enough paint out, and you end up having a streak across the front of your model.
Yep.
The paint that I have is this Metallique from Alchemy Art. It's a shiny, glittery type of paint that leaves a little bit of like a color hue. I like this paint a lot. I also have plenty of other options for you if you want a specific color. So I have these beautiful blues, but that feels
gorgeous.
That feels closer to your style of color.
I know, and I just don't feel like it's applicable for them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do a violet gold on probably both of mine. We'll see.
I'm doing rose gold on the
Croc. Okay.
Do I want to do rose gold?
I'm going to try to shake this up as much as possible.
Or do I not? What was this one? This is just
that was just a black metallic.
Aqua rose. Which color?
Okay. Alright, so the core concept. You're going to take, and you can just mash your brush around in it.
Yep.
Just get some paint on there. And then you're just going to spend some time here just getting paint off your brush.
Yep.
The core idea is that you start hitting it. And it should just catch on the edge of the model there and start pulling highlights out. Okay, so an important note. While cheap Chinese brushes might work fine for putting down the primer, they're not great options for dry brushing your models. You might want to spend a little bit more money on better quality brushes.
Alright, I didn't quite find what I was looking for. Jesse made fun of me. He's like, you brought watercolors over. But there's
No. I got it, don't worry.
There's a brush
This
in
is
here
perfect.
that is somewhat better quality. Crayola. I also brought over my miniatures that I've already painted to prove to you that I can airbrush.
Dry brush.
Dry brush. I dry brush them with a green on top of green. I think they look pretty good if I do say so myself.
Let's see if any of these work.
These should be better quality.
Let's try. Let's see if this works. This already, Shira. Look, the brush is miraculously not sticking together.
I told you.
Like a mob of glue.
I told you.
So slowly getting that color off of it. And then, let's see if this works. We just want to go in and slowly start putting down
Better.
a little bit of color. And you notice you just do it slowly over time.
Yep.
Just keeps adding up and up and up. Just a little bit of color on each spot.
It's so weird. It's blue, but then dry brush is gold. So gold.
Happy with how it's coming out?
Yeah.
Okay, the real star of the show. We've done our practice sessions on our little starting survivors. Some things worked, some things didn't work. Notably, have decent quality brushes. Also, take your time. The big one though, the star of the show, Shira. You're gonna do red.
Yeah.
That's your plan. Just dry brush the whole thing red.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Crimson Croc.
Let's see it.
I'm gonna start with your back. Ooh. I think that looks cool. He's a Crimson Croc after all. Oh, stop it. Didn't want to get red down there. What do you think?
Yeah. It just brings out that detail,
Yep.
It's such a simple way to make your models look so much better. And then you can do anything from here. You can get more complicated, you can paint more, get more advanced with your technique. This is the starting point.
Oops. Black still. A little wet down there. I am impressed with how well my fingers are staying on. I had doubts. See our Crimson Croc build for more details. But I had doubts.
So one of the lessons of dry brushing is to be patient and make sure you always clear a bunch of paint. Shira did the classic thing that I do all the time when I paint, especially dry brushing, is I think, if I just leave it a little bit thicker, I'll be able to get more coverage quicker, and it results in some brighter spots than not. The other nice thing about dry brushing is you just keep brushing over top of it. It really doesn't matter that much.
What do you think?
I think he's looking great. What do you think?
I like him.
So simple though, right?
Yeah. I want to just fill in details. I want to color his eyes. I want to put stuff on his fingers. There's just other little detailed areas that I'm noticing as I'm painting that I'm like, I would like to fill in some of these. And I also probably don't have patience for painting. I think I have more patience for building than I do painting.
You're just ready to have it over with?
Mm-hmm. I'm ready to play. You are going to be a formidable opponent, my friend.
So there you have it. That's a quick video on how to dry brush and paint the Crimson Croc. It's not overly complex. You're priming, getting a nice base layer down, then you're getting paint onto the brush, getting paint off of the brush until it has very little, very dry paint left, and then you're wiping it over top and just getting the ridges and the highlights to start standing out. Now, one of the things you're doing now is taking a little bit of a heavier brush. You can go over areas to make areas stand out a little bit more. You can leave areas off. There's a lot of stuff you can do with dry brushing to make lighting look like it's directional or coming from a source. But that all comes with experience and playing around with what you like. You could also do multiple colors if you wanted to layer your dry brushing. There's a lot.
I was thinking of going over this with the metallic as well.
There's a lot of great options out there. So, thank you for watching, thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and get this guy finished up so that we can actually get started on a campaign, because this is the last video before we move the studio set to the gameplay set and begin actually filming some Kingdom Death. We'll see you there.